The shows I look after at Fountain these last few years have been the X Factor and Britain's Got Talent. So we've done 10 years of Britain's Got Talent and about 12 years of the X Factor, and prior to that, Pop Idol, which we did here for a couple of years. Various other shows, Rebound, daytime game shows we've done, but quite a lot of shows here over the years. Well, I've got a great memory of the site prior to the times that I've been exec producing of these shows, because I started my career at ATV in '66, and in '66 I was at Elstree and the Rediffusion studios were here. So there was a couple of years of Rediffusion before they lost their franchise and LWT took over the studios. I was on the floor, I was a trainee assistant floor manager, call boy at that time, and I used to come over here from time to time. I had colleagues that worked here. I remember coming over here when, I think it was called Hippodrome, big show that was done here, circus acts and all sorts of stuff. So that was around about 66, 67. After that, LWT came in here. I don't think I ever visited the studios when LWT were here. And then Lee's took over the studios, or sometime around about there after LWT left. And we were doing a series of shows with Barbara Streisand at the ATV studios. This would be mid-70s, I guess, early 70s perhaps. And we did some Streisand links for some shows that we were co-producing in the US. We shot those here. And then it was quite some time before I then came back. So I then went to Central, up in the Midlands, came back, then started working for Pearson and then Thames, and I've been at Thames for the last 15, 16 years, and we've been here a lot since then. Well, what's attracted us to coming to the Fountain Studios over the last 14, 15 years? Quite simply, it's the biggest purpose-built TV studio in London, bar none. LWT is not as big, or should I say London Studios now is not as big. Studio One at Wood Lane's not as big. You can go to either the Elstree studios or to Pinewood, and you can go into bigger stages there, but they're not purpose-built TV studios. And for us doing lots of live television, it's so much better to be in a purpose-built TV studio. But what's really good about being here is when you move in, you take over the whole site. So you sort of move in and you kind of own the site. You know, you own the canteen, you own the offices, you own the dressing rooms, you own the studio, you own all the guys that support, all the support system are there specifically for you. So you kind of feel as though it's your studio for the time that you're here, and that's really attractive to us and has been for some time. The atmosphere of the studio is very family-like. We know everybody here, which is terribly important when you're being made to feel welcome. It's friendly, it's kind of like a family studio site, really. We've known a lot of the people here for many, many years, and they've always supported us a great deal. They've always been extremely helpful to us. So it's kind of like coming home. I mean, our offices are in the West End, or our production offices are in the West End. So then we move into here. It doesn't matter whether it's a small game show or a big extravagant LE show. You kind of feel as though you're made to feel welcome, and you're the only production in the site, and that's really important. Go to another studio centre, you are one of many, and here you're not. The things that stand out in one's mind over the years are, they're either very, very successful moments, or they're either then very disastrous moments. And I suppose the successful moments are, I suppose if there was one moment I would relive time and time again, would be the Pop Idol final that we did in 2002, 2001? 2001. That was a great moment. The Will and Gareth, and what was great with Pop Idol was the fact that we made a show that we really believed in and we loved doing it, and it started off being, you know, reasonably successful, and it built 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 until we had this kind of general election feeling at the end between Will and Gareth. And nobody knew who was going to win. There were a lot of fans for Will, there were a lot of fans for Gareth. We were all on tenterhooks wanting to know what the result was. And it was just a great, great night. And you know, you would always want to repeat something like that. We've had some amazing finals since. Particular ones, I remember Leona's final was a particularly good one. The Alexandra Burke moment when we had Beyonce singing the duet with her was an amazing moment. I think in the latter stages, people like Little Mix have been, they were great moments. The build-up, although we did the final up the road in the arena, but the whole series was settled here. So those are the sort of the highlight moments of successes. I suppose the Susan Boyle moments in the final with Diversity on BGT, that was a great moment because everybody thought Susan was going to win and she didn't, and that was, for drama, TV drama, that was a super night. I think in terms of the disasters are when the GPO tower went down and we lost power and everybody's going to a complete flap and I'm in the control room saying, guys, there's no point getting a flap here because when the power comes on, the power comes on. Just sit here tight and just be ready for whatever's going to happen. That was a memorable moment. The bomb across the road, that was quite a memorable moment where we had to close the site down. That was quite good. And then sort of more moments that we've had to choreograph ourselves or put into place ourselves is when Simon makes massive demands that his dressing room is not big enough and we have to basically make 3 other rooms into 1 room for Simon's dressing room, complete with ensuite this and ensuite that. You know, it's kind of like, okay, that's fine, we can do that. And all you guys, all the guys here at the studios embrace that and knock down 2 or 3 rooms to make Simon's suite. One other memorable moment will be on Dermot O'Leary's first year of presenting the show. It was the show, and it was his first live show here, was when Sharon Osbourne left the set. We had Chris Tarrant in the audience. I won't relay too much about the Chris Tarrant incident, but Chris Tarrant was in the audience, kind of wound Sharon up. Sharon had 2 people in the bottom 2. She was obviously going to lose 1 contestant, and she stormed off the set, effing and blinding off the set. And I went down to see her in the middle of the commercial break, trying to convince her to either get back on the set or leave the studio. And we had this discussion, should I put it, in the audience during the commercial break with all the rest of the judges going, oh my God, what's Sharon going to do next? And we managed to convince her to go back on the desk, all in 4 minutes, 20 seconds. What will the impact be to the television industry to Fountain closing? I suppose it depends on what you think that the future of the television industry is. Personally, I believe the future of television in the big spectacular entertainment shows has a long, long way to go. I think people want event television. I think they want event television of all sorts, whether it be sports, whether it be entertainment, whether it be drama, but they want event television. So there's always going to be a home for that. And event television always needs a big space, and this is a big space. So we're going to find it very hard to be able to fill that space. What are our opportunities? They are Elstree Film Studio, Pinewood Film Studio, LTS, which is slightly smaller studio, Wood Lane. And then it starts getting quite tricky. And you know, you've sort of cornered the market here for very, very big shows over the last few years. And we're going to find that hard. You know, we've got many years to run on these shows, these 2 big shows that we produce here. So where are we going to go? And the answer to that question is we don't know. We don't know. I mean, we've looked around at alternative sites to actually perhaps make a purpose-built studio for our own shows and then just bring a truck in and run it technically from a truck. Running a show from a truck is fine, but it's not the same as having purpose-built galleries where you can roam from one to the other. It's much more comfortable. I find it much more creative way of working when you've got lighting control one side of you, sound control the other side, and you can actually walk in and have a conversation as opposed to squeezing in behind everybody else. I think the thing that we will miss most will be the people, because it's the people primarily that draws you back. So the facility is great, but whether it be the guys that run the canteen or the guys that run the technical side, or whether it's the guys that run security and reception and so on and so forth, you know, they're the people that, those relationships are important. Obviously, you know, the size of the operation is something that we're going to miss probably most of all. But in terms of what we will miss, I can't imagine that being replicated anywhere else, because there isn't anywhere else like it.